Hi, friends and family. Hi, loved ones. Hi, fools. Hi, magicians and gardeners and tricksters. All fools. So, it's been a pretty full week. Been embracing the full, been letting go, leaving it alone as best I can. Had some interesting things come up this week. As I've been practicing and playing through all these archetypal themes and navigating to the best of my abilities in and through all my ways of being. Yeah, it's been pretty full. Pretty full week. Pretty interesting. Pretty intense. Um, I don't know, how about you guys? Have you been feeling like the ups and downs and the all arounds on the wheel and all the feels and all the intensity and the shifts and the changes and the stirring and the rising and the awakening, the activations, the solar activations, the new light coming in, and the greening of the land and the flowers, like, yeah, in bloom, and yeah, all the things sprouting and growing and being planted and being born through. This is awesome time, yeah, for a new life, a new light, a new growth, a new potential, and new possibilities, and new beginnings. And so, yeah, what do we get to create and what do we get to make? Yeah, how do we get to participate and engage and show up and witness? Yeah, to receive and to give and to be. And so, yeah, my last video, I shared some things about to forego, to forbear, to forget, and to forgive. And I've been practicing to forgo, to leave it alone. And that's been a challenge in a lot of ways. Like, how? Yeah, like I just want to keep turning it over and over and looking at it. And it's just kind of funny. Like, I don't know really what that's about. It's just like some kind of compulsion uh, to fix it, maybe. To fix it, to make it better, to make it into something that I want it to be, maybe. Instead of just letting it be and letting it become what it needs to be. And so just seeing certain stories when they come up, or certain feelings when they come up, and observing and witnessing, like acknowledging them, acknowledging like a desire, acknowledging a fear, acknowledging a wound, acknowledging, yeah, a feeling of anger, frustration, or disappointment, or resentment, or frustration, and just letting it be. And showing up for me, breathing into it, not attaching to it, watching like the story without like being swept up in it. Yeah, as best as I can, like being aware of that and like practicing that. And when certain things like just keep coming back up though, like I know I can like neutralize or dissolve it, or just let it be and let it move through. Let it move through my awareness, or let it move through me, and just, yeah, allow it like to be what it is, like for me. And so there are certain messages too, like, and it is an opportunity to um, see what it is, see what that opportunity is, see what the gift is, see what's being asked of me or what's being offered to me. Um, yeah, to transform or transmute, or just to allow, or just to be with, or um, what I get to see. I have other choices. There are other possibilities. Like, what else can this show me? What else can this teach me? And yeah, there's a cool little quote that kind of fits well with that. I've been watching like some astrology videos by Molly McCord and her intuitive astrology, and she has like these little quotes on her videos, and sometimes I'll look at them and I'll just say, oh, I like that. That's perfect for me right now. It's a good reminder. And one of them is, a fully conscious divine feminine energy asks herself, how can I change this energy within myself? How can I evolve and elevate this reaction I am feeling? How can I take responsibility for this part of myself and learn from it? Molly McCord, The Unlimited Sparks of a Bonfire. And there's one more. This is spiritual expansion. Awakening affects your full lifestyle. From spiritual practices and growth to your physical, emotional, and psychological needs. As you continue to make self-care a priority, you will notice how you feel lighter, fuller, and happier within. Some of the best moments of your life are coming your way still, open to all of it. So that's by Molly McCord. And so that was like, yeah, something else like that came up. I saw somewhere else, or I heard somewhere else, that like good things are coming. Good things are always coming. And so I was like, yep, that's a good reminder and a good affirmation. Good things are always coming my way. Good things are always happening. Good things are always like coming to me. And so I just wrote, good things are always coming through, to, and for me. And yeah, amor fati, or more fate, loving one's fate. Loving one's destiny or fate, deep acceptance, allow yourself and live in accordance with your truth and your purpose. And so yeah, that's something that I also received. Just kind of like doing my own thing this week and allowing myself just to be, and just letting myself rest this week as well. Like it's been, yeah, one of those weeks where I've pretty much took a nap every single afternoon, because it was just like, felt like the right, good and true thing for me to do, to care for myself and just allow that for myself. And even though like I do have like this energy that really wants to do something and create something and make something, or just, yeah, it's like a fire under my butt. And yeah, just kind of some kind of motivation or some kind of activation to create. And I don't think that's a strange thing at all. Not at all. To relate. And we have our new moon tomorrow, so we're in that window right now, this very potent new moon window, and new moon in Aries, and there's a lot of interesting things happening with the astrology. So I've been looking at the astrology more intensely like the last month or two, and like looking at my own chart and learning more about like myself and how I can like direct and work with and access like, yeah, certain energies and qualities, like to help me create with, to help me create the new with. And so yeah, I've just been enjoying like, yeah, learning, and also like just creating and playing and being here as best I am able to. And yeah, taking it one day, one moment at a time, and allowing all things to exist. And also like my own responses or my own reactions, allowing those for myself, and asking myself like, what is it, like what part of myself is asking for attention or for inclusivity or for self-care or for receptivity, or yeah, because they all have something to contribute and show me. And it's just a matter of like harmonizing or synthesizing those parts into a coherent whole, yeah, for that harmony and for that inner peace. So yeah, so I have been, yeah, just working through some uncomfortable and feelings and old patterns, becoming aware of family patterns, personal patterns, generational, ancestral, cultural patterns, and dynamics in certain relationships and what those have created, and how they recycle like the same stories, the same attachments, the same identities, the same fear, desire cycle of the body pain, the pain body, the emotional pain body, or the emotional pain prison, or like the mental constructs of the lower ego mind, or the lower um, beast. Yeah. And that's been interesting to see in a lot of ways, like how certain triggers can activate that wound of the pain body and suck us back into a story that reinforces like the identity. The story that reinforces the identity, or the identity that reinforces the story. And like kind of like becoming more aware of that when I fall into those old loops, those psychic loops. So it is pretty interesting, like to start to see like and witness it and observe and redirect like my own creative energy. And yeah, it's getting a little easier. So I appreciate that. But during this week, I had like just a impulse or a feeling just to pick up my old journal from December. And I flipped open to this like really, really freaking detailed, long, potent dream that I had on the 29th. And I did share, like in December, some of this dream, like a little few snippets of this dream, but there was so much about it, like that had so many gifts and gems and nuggets and threads for me to follow in it. And it was just like showing me again, like how like it does relate to my process of forgiveness and to like my father wound that I really didn't fully understand or even aware of, like fully aware of that I had until like let's say maybe in the summertime in 2020, when there was certain things coming up between me and some members of my family, some immediate and some extended, and yeah, there was just kind of some interesting dynamics that way. And so I feel like, yeah, I want to share like some of this dream, at least some of it, maybe. We'll see how it goes. I'll start and we'll see where it goes from here. But it was, yeah, it was eye-opening, and it was illuminating, and like it does have a lot to do with some of these relationships that I've had a hard time like letting go of. Like, I mean, physically were easier to let go of, but emotionally and mentally and psychically not as easy. So I'm still like kind of processing certain things and going over certain things, like what really is it about this that's I'm having such a hard time like integrating or assimilating, or just allowing it to fall away, or yeah, like what is it that I get to see about it, like before like I can completely just release it. You know, like yeah, there's something there like for me. And a lot of it did have to do with like these not enough stories and this unworthiness, like unworthy stories, and like proving my worth and proving myself, and like that need because of that need to belong that we all have, that need for belonging and acceptance. And that's what I have been working on like for quite some time, with self-acceptance, like so forever. But yeah, since 2012, like been working like with the medicine, and like that's like yeah, working through like all of these old layers, but I no longer need, to carry or to protect myself with like all of these layers and all of these constructs and all of these attachments and identities and stories like that are no longer needed. But and I know like that everything is healed and it's in the process of healing. It's just coming up to be transmuted. And in a lot of ways, like it's coming up in certain ways for all of us, like certain patterns are coming up to be seen so that they can be transmuted and they can be recognized and transformed. Transformed and released so we can reintegrate like those aspects, those purified aspects of ourselves and operate like with more personal power and integrity. So just like it was good to see like that it is like it's about the not enough stories, like, and also needing to like that ego need and that survival strategy to be seen and recognized and validated by others, and be seen in a positive light or be seen through the light of their eyes so I can see myself like as the light. But that was never enough for me because I needed to be able to see that through my own eyes and not like, so it's like breaking up those old patterns as well, because like, the rewiring process, like the way that our neural networks are, like when the neurons that fire together wire together, and it was just like such a pattern or such a habit, like an unconscious reflexive or automatic autopilot habit, like to go into a certain story or a lens in my own mind, like to see how others might view me through that or through those eyes. But that is just a false construct of reality too. It's not even their eyes, it's like the judge's eyes. Like, in a certain way, like being perceived as someone else might see, but it's really my own judge's lens, if that makes sense. Like that's how I was seeing me, I was seeing how they might see me, like through this like false lens. And I don't even know like how to articulate or explain, but maybe like it'll just organically unfold and be expressed through me. But that's the best I can do for now. But here's this awesome dream that I had, and then I'll go into like what came up for me and through me this week as I've been foregoing and letting go and leaving things alone. So it's harder, easier said than done sometimes, but it's really not as hard as I think sometimes. So this is funny. We can get in our own ways by telling ourselves like what it is already and then making it that way for ourselves. Silly beings being silly. Just drink of water. Cheers. Lots of new beginnings and new insights and breakthroughs. So I'm in a large, never-ending, it seems, wraparound house, a labyrinth style. There's some illusion, confusion, distractions, desires, fears, impulses. There's fun, joy, admiration, excitement, agendas, tasks, changes, details, awareness, getting focused, centered, grounded, paying attention to details and presencing, relaxing, playing, serving, creating, engaging, using energy wisely. Attractions, curiosity. Maybe fear and desire are cycle themes. And liberation. Through adventurous play and creativity, joy and pleasure, hide and seek games. So, in the dream, I'm enamored with Leigh McCloskey. He's sexy and attractive because he's amazing, kind, brilliant, and wise, talented, gifted, strong, and a golden kind of hero, a wise man, a teacher, the Hierophant, a visionary artist, magical child, and radiant, virile, and exciting. That's some Freudian slip there, maybe. And so I'm doing tasks around the house, and there are lots of kids. There are two younger girls, grandchildren, and his wife has an injury. She's walking around with a cane. And so, like, one of her legs is, like, in need of support. So, yeah, I kind of look at that. Like, yeah, where do I get to show up and support me? Or, yeah, where might I be feeling off balance in certain ways or injured? Like, what does that have to do with, like an old injury, like with my foundational support that I need for myself right now? Like, yeah. So that's like asking for care and attention, and yeah, some conscious effort. So there are all sorts of family lines and connections, all sorts of extended family living in this house. All sorts of connections. There are two sisters and there are doubles. There's a huge family with lots of personalities. And they're all like mirrors with slight differences, almost identical, but it's all in the details. There's two kitchens that are exactly alike, almost, like slight differences, but they're like twin kitchens in this house. Reflections, but not the same. It's attention to detail, so it's showing me, but like pay a little bit more attention to details at this time. And recognize, be aware of, we're looking for another kitchen. So we went to the wrong one, and now we need to find our way to the other one. That's like a mirror image of that one. It's kind of funny. So that's just like kind of like part of the descriptions until I like went into the whole entire thing. So what I got, like some of the messages were: have fun, enjoy, play, create, and pay attention, relax, it's all okay, let it all unfold, respond, remember, love, know what is and what is not mine, and choose to honor my energy and others. Integrity, freedom, joy, responsibility, being alive, the pleasure of being together and experiencing and sharing the gifts of life, connection, time, play, adventure. So the story, or the center theme around this dream, is a wraparound house labyrinth type maze that almost seems to loop in on itself. There are so many rooms, sections, groups, or groupings, different residents and family connections, family home units. It's Leigh J. McCloskey's home that he shares with his very large family and extended kin community relations. I'm doing tasks and assisting with caregiving since his wife is unable to attend to some of these things. It seems like she needs to rest and she needs some recovery. She is healing from a broken leg or an injury to her left leg. Cane on the left anyway, for support or balance, stability, grounding, maybe even symbolic as a staff, as above, so below, or may represent a shepherd's cane to link the two. But in a way, it reminds me of Tanya, a lady that was a dear friend that I used to caregive for when I first met her. And it could be finding my place through being needed. Like, yeah, that's definitely, like, how do I fit into this group? Where am I needed? And what needs can I fulfill so I can belong to this group? Kind of a thing. So I've taken on this role, and there seems to be an attraction towards Leigh. I'm not sure if he really feels the same, but I'm hoping so, because I'm mesmerized and very attracted to him and his gifts, or his idealized image. Anyway, I'm desiring time with him, and maybe his affection and attraction, approval as well, but maybe I want his appreciation, acknowledgement, and an intimate connection. And I wrote expectations or agendas. Wanting some teacher to recognize the gold within me, because that feels good, mutual admiration and appreciation. But it may be a seeking of external validation, or a father or a mother figure to see me as enough and worthy of the value of belonging and acceptance. Interesting. So there's laundry to do, and his two granddaughters have been asking for some ice cream type of treats. Yeah. And we go on a little journey through the house. So searching for the right or the correct kitchen that has the exact freezer that they're in. And there are all kinds of sections and levels to this house. It feels like a fun little adventure and exciting playtime to explore and enjoy. The two girls are happy, joyful, excited, good-natured, innocent, eager in the moment, eager for their treats and for that pleasure. They're enjoying the simple pleasures and the fun of life. We're having fun together. We're walking into this certain kitchen that we think have the treats, but it turns out this isn't the right kitchen. It just looks very similar, almost identical, with some slight differences or slightly different details. So we realize that it's the other twin kitchen, maybe on the opposite side of the house. Funny, polar opposites or dual sisters, dual nature. Because the kitchens belong to two different sisters of this home, all sorts of extended families, a multi-family home. Then there's a woman that comes up the stairs to tell us if we know how loud we are, or how loud I am, because it seems like we're making more noise than we realize just by searching and playing around. And she says, "You are so very loud. Really loud. Yes, you are, and have been so loud," she says, after I say, "Oh, really?" Because it doesn't seem to me that we've been making very much noise, but apparently in her perception and estimation, we have been so extremely loud and disturbing those who want to stay asleep. So, who want to sleep right now. Some sounds and words may be amplified, so choose our words wisely and be mindful of others in their own spaces. It may upset them, or it may upset some or activate certain triggers, but no, it is just their perception, judgment, or experience that they're having through their own sensitivities, preferences, and containers of their senses, their filters, judgments, descriptions, and opinions. And so then we start to walk out into this long hallway, and there are all of these televisions or screens stacked up on each other. And there are all these TVs we pass by through a hallway or some kind of open room, maybe a living room or a family room. And it's like they can see us. So it's like a Zoom call almost. So they can see us in real time, much like Zoom, and some of them are in costumes and primping and preening and proud of their peacock feathers, maybe a little bit vain or playing into ego flattery. A narcissistic image they get to show off, and they're so proud of their costumes and their personas, their self-made personas. Some costumes are totally garish and are almost medieval style with green velvet trimmed robes, like they're royalty, or so they think. They're so pleased with themselves and they think they are so right, acting the part of know-it-alls and my way is the right way, self-righteous and virtue signaling, we're better and true. We're better and truer than you. But it is a flimsy act or an obvious overacting, and there is no real substance behind the role or the persona mask image. They're all talk and no action, and they're just, preening and acting. They haven't really realized that they're just acting and not following through. They're just carried away by their pretending roles and stories. The fantasy reality for them. They're so convinced, but no one else is really all that fooled by this little ego ruse. But they have done a great job fooling themselves, LOL. They say they that they are something, and they know the right rules, and they are making much better rules because they know so much about everything. The silly fools, so full of themselves, playing into their roles, being carried away, or getting carried away by their illusions, egos, false images, roles, stories of who they think they are and who they're playing at being. So very interesting, all these themes, roles, and stories. The house is a great maze, a house of mirrors, twins, opposites, mirrors, reflections of unity and division, duality and polarity, locked in opposition, or lost in opposition, but freed clearly in paying attention to the details, observation, detachment. So there's this desire of seeking validation, expectations and agendas, too much and not enough, or never enough, or too loud, not pleasing, displeasing. So I realized that the story has been playing out in my life, seeking external approval and validation, acceptance to prove my worthiness. I've been desiring admiration and acceptance from a teacher, a wise elder, or a father or mother figure, like an archetypal father or mother figure. And so don't waste energy or get lost trying to please everyone. Make it all right for everyone. So I'm looking for like that validation and acceptance. But it is never enough, or I am never enough. The old story, old belief, old wound, old hindrance, old chains of control. Silly being so silly. I am enough, we are enough, love is enough, life is enough, we are worthy, I am worthy. Life is enough. Life is worthy, she is worthy. All this love, I am, we are, she is, thou art. And I can see how and where the residual resentments have come from this old story, belief, and false perception that we need other or an external source of outer validation. Yeah, of that validation, and why that is never enough for us until we claim it for ourselves and know and remember ourselves. And I can also see why the gifts that I supplied or shared with others were never going to be enough, or enough to save their lives. Yeah, or to satisfy, when the ego was the one in charge. And that's a funny sight. And I realized that I resented some of them too, because it reinforced the story that we were not enough, and we could never be quite enough, or it could never be enough of what we needed. And sometimes it was like way too much for me in certain ways, like because it felt so overbearing, pushy, demanding, and it felt like a one-way street. Like, and it did feel like that, pushing that boulder up the hill, like, yeah, again and again and again. And it was just like, why for? Why do I keep doing this? Like, so boundaries were crossed and blurred. The wounded child, victim, monster, savior, judge. Like distortions, the wounded parent, the wounded child. Distorted student, teacher, parent, child, savior, villain, orphan. And it has been hard for me to step out of this shadow caregiver role and step back and say no. And it's been hard for me to, and I acknowledge me too. The guilt or the resentment, the compulsion to smooth things over, to fix them, to make them better, make it pleasing them, making it easier or more pleasant or peaceful, comforting, comfortable, but never enough. So much energy exhausted and spent. When we're unconsciously choosing suffering, pain, and misery to avoid suffering, like to avoid the pain, then we just keep creating more of the same. The miser, the martyr, and the caregiver at play. And yeah, one of my old teachers, wow, like I realized that she may even have the same story, like that stems from that lack and poverty consciousness, like where there wasn't enough time. And yeah, and very interesting indeed. So I wanted to be enough in their eyes, and I wanted to see that through their eyes, but those were all ego stories, myths, and lies. Like, there's no way that I can see through their eyes. Like, only they can see through their eyes. Like, but I wanted to see myself the way that they saw me. Yeah, in certain ways. Because I wasn't able to see me, and I wasn't able to realize me. And I wasn't enough for me. And so I thought I would be enough in someone else's eyes. Like, and I wanted to see that, you know. And so, yeah, that's where a lot of the lack stories came from, the not enough stories. So I needed to see my own self-worth through my own eyes. Real eyes, real lies, real lies, real lies. Wow, potent dream of ego stories, false images, or embodied truth and vision. Wisdom. Seeing more clearly now, so it's funny that someone who I deem worthy or attractive or all-knowing, I wanted them to see me and to validate me. And when their image shatters, that disappoints me because I needed them to show me my worth. Or my ego wanted them to be enough in certain ways so they could fulfill my desires of being seen. A loop, a never enough, or as worthy, enough, deserving. A never-ending cycle of pain, blame, expectation, shame, resentment, the wheel of illusion and of suffering, disconnection from my own true self and my own true self-worth and true sight. The Shadow Caregiver. Yeah. And yeah, like the eternal child. And so I thought that was interesting. And also this page that is after, yeah, what I just read. It's funny. There's mouse, badger, buffalo, horse, hawk, armadillo, deer, butterfly, bear, wolf, dog, eagle, owl, and otter. And that's funny because a lot of these are totems I'm working with this week. Especially like badger came up in the last couple days. And badger is like helps with aggression and assertiveness. And balancing that, yeah, and self-confidence. So that's kind of funny. It came up in some funny ways this week, and so I wrote down, yeah, badger earlier this morning. And so, and then mouse is like attention to details and things, like focus on the details. But hawk is like more of like zooming back out to get the whole picture as well. So, and those are, you know, they have a predator-prey relationship, so it's interesting that way. And this morning I woke up from a dream where I was being stalked by an adversary, and that's kind of interesting in a way, and I didn't really think much about it, but now I am feeling like it relates. And so maybe I'll read that one. From just a little snippet. So, dream. Being stalked by an adversary of some kind, mostly female qualities, but some male energy personified as a middle-aged woman. She's trying to find me and aim a gun at me to get a kill shot, and I'm maneuvering around a column or a pillar to get away or stay invisible to these threats against me. So we go around doing this hide-and-seek dance, and then she catches a sight of me being sneaky, like a little game of wits, and I get away again and conceal myself again. So I wonder if this is symbolic of the things or aspects that emerge from my unconscious that I don't want to confront or meet or allow or receive. Are they threatening to me, or uncomfortable, or unwelcome, or excluded, or not claimed, unclaimed aspects or energies that are misaligned or misdirected or rejected? Or are they in need of acknowledgement and confrontation to help me move forward and be free of these distractions or the booby mind traps? The mind booby traps. What am I avoiding or protecting or defending myself from, blocking or resisting? Playing at being, giving my energy to, or my power away? So there was more to this dream, but that's all I can recall. Dang it. Oh well, thanks for the messages I'm willing to receive. So that's pretty interesting to see that. So yeah, there are some things that I have been avoiding confronting, and so just because sometimes, yeah, it seems scary, I guess, and just like letting go of control, letting go of the outcome, and letting go of the need to fix anything or force anything or control anything or make it into something that it's not. Like just allowing it to be what it is, like right now. And so that's what I'm working on and working through and playing with. So how, yeah, do I tie that in with what? Yeah, so the self-worth, self-love, self-care, and boundaries. Working on all those things. Like, what do I want to create in my life? What do I want to invite into my life? Where do I get to, like, direct my energy? Who do I get to share my energy with? And all of that. And what do I need? What do I desire? Can I let go of the detachment, acknowledge the desire, acknowledge the fear, acknowledge the feeling, acknowledge the story, but surrender it and let it go and not be attached to it. Yeah. And so it was all about, like, yeah, these not enough stories. And I feel like, yeah, that compulsion to want to be seen, but then to be terrified also of being seen and being scared of intimacy. Yeah, it's just kind of funny, like that fear desire cycle, that loop, like that psychic loop, getting stuck in that loop. So, man, just wow, the not enough stories, not enough or too much, not worthy, valued, or good enough. Wrong, bad, undesirable, seen as trash or misunderstood, devalued, discarded, silenced, dismembered, rejected, shamed, and judged, outcast, scapegoated, excluded, exiled, and blamed. So I choose to see, I choose to be free. I choose to see me and we without sin as innocence and perfect love, the love we get to be. Please see me, like this is for me. I am, like, I get to see me as right, worthy, and innocent, loved. Please see me as worthy of all that I love. Please see me as righteous, holy, and good. Please see me as sacred, whole, worthy. Please see me as enough. Please see me as all that I love. See the light and be the love. I am the light. I am all I love. I am the truth. I am all I love. I am enough. Life is enough. Love is enough. We are enough. So what can I do, and how can I serve? What can I choose? What love can be served? What love can I offer, share, and contribute? So seeing distractions, baiting, and attention hooks, like the things that want us to come back into that pattern, to give our energy to it. And so, like, it's like, yeah, like getting us to fight back, or feeling defensive, or feeling prideful, or feeling like that ego vanity, which isn't exactly what we think it is in certain ways. It's not just being vain. It's like almost like a form of self-importance in certain ways, to keep ourselves separate from others. And yeah, to set ourselves apart in certain ways sometimes, like that's what it can be. But it's all different, yeah, for everyone. And I just wanted to include that for me. So fear, shame, guilt, self-pity, or importance, defensiveness. So I saw that, like, all of that, like, where do I feel like I need to prove myself? And, like, why do I feel defensive? And why is this, like, this need to be right? Like, I'm so over that, like, because it's all right. But, like, has to do with proving I am worthy to exist, proving my power, proving that I exist, proving that I am, proving that I'm enough, proving that my worth, value, goodness, virtue, righteousness, worthiness, or my goodness is enough, my enoughness, proving I am right, proving I am okay, proving I am worthy, proving I can see, proving I am smart, proving I am nice, proving I am good, proving I am worth loving, proving I am enough. Like, yeah, like, because of all those old scripts, definitions, identities, stories, like, that said you're bad, you're wrong, you're not enough, you're not worthy, you don't deserve this, you don't deserve good, you know, all those things, like, yeah, it's what I kept getting sucked back into. So self-acceptance and self-love. I am worthy, I am enough, I am worthy, I am enough, and claiming that for me, and the rest is like a bullshit story. So what I see, I can only offer what I see, feel, and am able to receive. I don't need to convince or manage anything. I don't need to prove myself to anyone for anything. I can hold space for it all to be. I am love and love is me. I am love and love is free. I am love, so let me be. I am love and love is free. I am love and I am free. I am love and love is me. We are enough, so let it be. I am enough. We are enough. Love is enough. Life is enough. Healing poverty consciousness. Healing victim consciousness. Healing the wounds of separation. Yeah. This transformation, transfiguration. And these patterns have been coming up to be seen this week, and I have noticed that in some of my relationships, but it's been interesting because I had that like awareness and that choice. Like, oh, okay, I can go into a wound about this, or I can be butthurt about this, or I can take it personally, or I can just know that, okay, like, this is an opportunity, this is coming up to be seen right now, so it can be shifted and transmuted, like, right now. And so, like, how is that for, like, a better use of energy? Like, instead of, yeah, needing to go into, like, some kind of self-pity or poor me, like, oh, you hurt my feelings, and, like, because I wasn't enough for you, or because, yeah, this isn't enough, or whatnot. And it's just like, oh, I have compassion because I see, like, what that's about. And, like, yeah, it's just seeing it from a wider perspective, and also acknowledging, like, what I don't like about it and what I'm not okay with, like, where if, like, there needs to be, like, a boundary set, or say, okay, I know you're upset right now, but, like, yeah, you don't need to shadow dump on me, and or target or, yeah, lash out or vent your frustrations onto me, like, yeah, and those kinds of things, like, without, like, having to punish or retaliate or withdraw in a cold, miserly way, like, yeah, in certain ways, yeah, like that. So it was kind of good to see and good to experience this week, those shifts and those things that are changing and shifting. So I don't need to take anything personally, as the old patterns come up to be shifted and regenerated, renewed and remade, harmonized and aligned, reclaimed, acknowledged and integrated, renamed, reframed for structural integrity, self-acceptance and detachment, compassion, love and action, surrender, trust, effortless action, flow state, love state, inspired actions through being love for me and we. And the missing links: psycho-spiritual, mental, emotional practices, freedom, responsibility, play and mastery, harmony, inner peace, be at peace, develop practices for mental martial arts and clarity, self-mastery, know thyself, love thyself, be thyself, own thyself, honor thyself, free thyself. I am one with God. I am that. I am. I am that love. I know that I am. Just, like, claiming my power and what I have to work with and what I can access and what I can bite in, and, yeah, what I can allow and just be with right now. And so I can see in certain ways my ego's needs for belonging and external validation and approval, acknowledgement, legitimacy, someone to see me as right and worthy for my belonging and security. I see myself as right and worthy. I see my self-worth clearly. I claim my self-respect fully. I claim my sovereignty. I claim my responsibility gratefully. I claim my legitimacy with humility. I claim my true full right to be me. I claim my individuality. I claim my bodily autonomy. I claim my birthright as a living soul. I claim my freedom, power, and accountability. I claim my love and my power to be. I claim my fullness and my whole divine human being. I claim my life and my creative energy. I claim my joy in all that I be. I claim my heart and my inner knowing. I claim my truth and my voice, my currency. I claim my wholeness. I claim all of me. I claim my wisdom, my ignorance, and folly. I claim my worth, my value, and my being. I see my worth, my value through being. I know my worth, my gift for all beings. I am my love, my beloved true being. All of my love through all love, my being. All of this love through all one for being. All of God's love for all love through being. Being love for me. I saw some judgments, worries, fears, stories, archetypes, programs come up to be seen, so I'm playing back and observing and witnessing, asking the right kind questions, and willing to receive all that I need and get to receive. The answers are available and accessible to me. Let go and trust love. Be open to receive. Gifts, blessings, and miracles are all around me. I'm open. I'm willing. Receptivity. God's love alive in and through me and we. God's light alive in everything. God's love alive for everything. God's love for our whole being. all her love for all we be, all she is, all we are, all thou art, all we are, all I am, all thou art. Get messy, shake it up, and let loose and play. Be mindful, use restraint. Channel energy, direct focus, be present, receptivity. Yeah. Express, become, and create. And this was from my journal last month. Yeah, so just like doing a little bit of review, and it's been pretty cool and interesting. And so what I got to choose for myself this week, yeah, was just to rest and to let things rest and to let things be. And if they kept coming back up again and again, like, then it was like something for me to look at and something like for me to be with. And so I did write a letter, like just not something that I'm going to send to my dad, but it did help me like express some things and to see like certain things that I could offer myself and that I could choose to be for myself and that I could claim for myself. And that's what it was about, like, in a lot of ways. But like there are still some old hurts, and those will never like really go away. And it's just like, it gets like easier or lighter over time as I allow my grief to move through me. And that's like, yeah, just one of the things that I'm working through is like some of this grief and some of this sadness and sorrow, and for what is hard for me to see, like, but then also remembering like that there's a much bigger scheme and much bigger things at play, and it's, yeah, trusting in this power that's bigger than me and little me, and yeah, knowing that there's nothing I need to control, for nothing is under control. It's false control. Like, seriously, we get in our own ways and we like to think that we can control things, or that, yeah, but like we end up like really enslaving ourselves like through that control. And it's like very interesting to see like the tyranny, slavery, archetypal themes playing out right now, and kind of, yeah, understanding what those themes and those things and those stories and those attachments and that survival strategy, that need to control, is all about, what it's all about. And I'm sure it's slightly different for everyone, just like in that dream, yeah, where, yeah, and it is, yeah, the twin and the doubles do keep coming up today as well. And yeah, there is something fun to share about that. But I did want to talk about like this letter that I wrote that did help me kind of release some things, and just, it was good for me to express it and then to let it be. And just kind of feeling, you know, not very happy with like how we're being manipulated and how we're being deceived in a lot of ways through like fear, through that fear, desire, and the need to please, and the need to be validated and accepted and told that we're good children and righteous, and, you know, like, oh, you're following along, you're doing good, you know, like that external validation, approval, acceptance. And yeah, that's like why I was so mad at other people, like, for going along with that bullshit, you know, like, because that was like one of my main core programs that were at play. And I was so sick and tired of it. Like, it made me so frustrated when it came up over and over again. Like, can't we just get through this already? Like, can't you see through your bullshit? Like, you know? And so, like, seeing through my own bullshit and, like, okay, that's what I get to see, you know. I said, I'm devastated. I did share some things. I'm devastated that you and the family have been hijacked into believing that special interest groups and certain pharma manufacturers of big tech and big, big poison, the corrupt media and rotten to the core ABC agencies are actually trustworthy and altruistic in their motives and their ways of responding to this planned crisis, steering the populace and the masses to a new era of total dependence and slavery, mind control. Please know that when you accept these programs, you are selling your life and your soul to an illegitimate authority and a false messiah outside of you. The status thing is another way to further divide us and make us turn on one another. The status is the new papers, please strategy of tyranny and control, and the useless masks are a prop to reinforce fear, safety, and control, and to separate us further from real and true human connection, communication, and authentic response to empathy, goodwill, love, and compassion. We rely on facial expressions and subtle cues of nonverbal expression. I know that it makes you feel safer because you've been told it's the right thing to do, and they all told you it's safe and effective and good for you. But I'm sorry you're unable to see that you're playing into their game of the clean and the unclean, the desirables and the undesirables. And these false beliefs that we are not able to understand, work with, or harmonize and create true health and wellness from the inside. I'm most disappointed in your ability to see the hypocrisy at play because you have been one of my biggest teachers, and it's been hard to accept these psychological and emotional limitations that I've observed and witnessed the last few years. I know you are doing your best with what you have where you're at and with what you believe you know and are being told and shown. I also know and understand your fears of further harm, illness, injury, trauma, and death, and I have and hold compassion for you. I'm not sure when I will really be able to see you again, as I am not complying and going along to get along with the programs, and my status will not be widely recognized as socially acceptable. I will be known to your propagandized side as an undesirable, a black sheep and a scapegoat, someone to conveniently shame, judge, and blame, even though I'm healthy and responsible for me and my full, whole, true well-being, for all of myself. So just know that I love you, and I always have and I always will. I'm sorry we're going our own separate ways for now. Maybe one day you'll understand why I cannot and will not go against myself to belong to this new religion of scientism and the inversion of God's will, of God's laws and God's will. This new nanny state religion of scientism is quickly paving the well-intentioned road to hell. I love you and I'm sorry. I forgive you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I bless you always, and I wish you love on your journey. Be at peace and be well. Farewell for now until we meet again. And so, yeah, that felt good, and that felt like some good closure for the moment. And like, that's all I can really do. Like, and now I get just to surrender it all, like, to God and to love and just be with what is, and know that it is, like, all in divine order and timing, and what it is meant to be will be. And yeah, and just pray for the best of all, pray for the whole of humanity. So I was watching this video the other day, a couple days ago, and it was from Academy of Ideas, and I just wrote down a couple of different quotes about some things, and it is about illusions, and it's about mind control, and it's about like our own, facing our own shadow and facing our own demons, you know. And so, man does not make his ideas. We could say that man's ideas make him. Carl Jung. If he controls your ideas, he will soon control your actions, because every action is preceded by an idea. Silvano Arrietty, The Will to be Human. Illusions are inimical to life. They are unhealthy and sooner or later trip you up. Carl Jung. So, just as the technological advances of the modern world have refined and perfected the weapons of physical warfare, so the advance in man's understanding of the manipulation of public opinion have enabled him to refine and perfect the weapons of psychological warfare. And totalitarian psychological warfare is an effort to propagandize and hypnotize the world into submission. Joost Meerloo, Rape of the Mind. To do evil, a human being must first of all believe that what he's doing is good, or else that it's a well-considered act in conformity with natural law. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, The Gulag Archipelago. Yeah. Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Ideology, that is what gives evil doing its long-sought justification and gives the evildoer the necessary steadfastness and determination. That is the social theory which helps to make his acts seem good instead of bad in his own and others' eyes, so that he won't hear reproaches and curses but will receive praise and honors. Alexander Solzhenitsyn. The comparison between totalitarianism and psychosis is not incidental. Delusional thinking inevitably creeps into every form of tyranny and despotism. Evil powers from the archaic past return. An automatic compulsion to go on to self-destruction develops to justify one mistake with a new one. To enlarge and expand the vicious pathological circle becomes the dominating end of life. The delusion starts with the leaders and is later taken over by the masses they oppress. Joost Meerloo, Rape of the Mind. It is delusional to think of man as an obedient machine. It is delusional to deny his dynamic nature and try to arrest all his thinking and acting at the infantile stage of submission to authority. Joost Meerloo, Rape of the Mind. So, just when people were congratulating themselves on having abolished the belief in demons, it turned out that instead of haunting the attic or old ruins, the demons were flitting about in the heads of apparently normal Europeans. Tyrannical, obsessive, intoxicating ideas and delusions were abroad everywhere, and people began to believe the most absurd things, just as the possessed do. Carl Jung. So I thought those quotes were interesting, and I appreciated them, and it does kind of help me make some sense of what's going on right now, and like how we can justify our actions and tell ourselves that we're in the right, and not realize like the harm that we are actually causing, and also like not even acknowledging like that there is programming that's happening, and that if we're not programming our own minds, you can be sure that someone or something else is doing it for you. And so what kind of programs are running? Are we even aware of like the programming, you know, and the programs that are being activated, or the programs that are being run, or yeah. So I don't know what it's going to take for us to be able to see that, or to be even to acknowledge that, but like it definitely, like we're very programmable. Like we are biocomputers, and that's how we operate. We have an operating system, and so we've been running on an inverted operating system for the longest time, and now we're correcting that, and it's a reversal of that inversion. And so it is going to feel topsy-turvy as things come up, you know, and we may feel a little disoriented and discombobulated, and yeah, and have our challenges like navigating this time. And so it is good, yeah, to center and to focus and remind ourselves of what's really true, and have a focus to where we can bring ourselves back to our center, to ourselves, and reclaim our own minds, you know, instead of being run by the lower mind or the monkey mind, yeah, and the ego that thinks it knows everything and does everything it can for its own self-preservation. And like, yeah, that cognitive dissonance, like it's got to filter out like some of those things, because otherwise like can't make sense of anything, or it loses its own mind because it loses its identity. And it's just weird like how that all is and how it goes. I'm just, yeah, those are just some interesting, yeah, thoughts to consider. So I was most upset like with others for not knowing, and so like, yeah, like upset with myself for not knowing what I know now, like, yeah, and just for wanting it to be like better, you know. So I forgive myself for giving my power away, for not trusting myself, my innocence, and my inner knowing, my responsibilities. I forgive myself and others for expectations, resentments, projections, stories, myths, lies, and illusions, confusion. I forgive myself for not knowing. I forgive myself for the harm I may have done while under the spell of amnesia, ignorance, and programming. I forgive myself for making mistakes. I forgive my imperfections and my perceived weaknesses. I forgive myself and my limitations. I forgive myself for past betrayals. I forgive myself for abandonment and the push and pull dynamics. I forgive myself for the experience of rejection, avoidance, and playing small. I forgive all for everything. So let it be and heal. So, yeah. The goddess usurped, and the divine feminine distorted, inverted, perverted, hidden, subverted. The wisdom records, myths, stories, codes, channels, vessels, edited, modified, altered, wiped, defiled, veiled, cloaked, concealed, scrambled, dismembered, dishonored, fragmented, infiltrated, hijacked, compartmentalized, reversed, and misdirected. But she is rising now and resurrected, reconnected, redirected, remembered, and protected, reborn, and course corrected. I wrote that like 2 days ago. Yeah. And I have one more thing to share, and then that'll be it for now. And yeah, there are like some really cool things right now happening, like with the new moon, and it's a perfect time to set intentions, and it's a time, yeah, to plant those seeds and to nurture, like, and nourish and ask for what we need and ask for what we want to receive and open to receive that, open to all of it. Let it be. And so the other day, since I was talking about the sun and the self and the soul and the father, I was just like, oh, that's interesting. So I looked at the Emperor in Leigh McCloskey's book, The Tarot Revisioned, and it was really freaking awesome. So the Emperor, I'm just going to read a few paragraphs. The Emperor is the fourth key in the Tarot Arcana and is represented astrologically by the cardinal fire sign of Aries. Aries is associated with self-awareness, pioneering spirit, courage, leadership, and intelligence. The Emperor is the initiator, that which the Empress holds in potential. The Emperor ignites, sets into motion. He is the grand architect of the universe, also known as the Ancient of Days. The Emperor emerges from the primordial depths of the Empress as transformative will. He establishes fundamental causality and order from her abstract and ideal potentiality. He represents the logos, or divine reason, that establishes, guides, regulates, and maintains all that is. The sun is exalted in Aries, suggesting that the Emperor represents the life-creating and sustaining fire or force which permeates and acts as creative impulse within all growth. Mars rules the astrological sign of Aries. Its fiery nature can lay waste as readily as it can produce. The Emperor represents the tremendous thrust of creation, which, if directed wisely, impels the individual to push beyond the bounds of normal consciousness. If this energy is misunderstood or misdirected, it can easily become the source of one's undoing. The laws of the universe are founded upon proper knowledge and right use of energy. Refusing to embrace this simple equation for selfish reasons is to deny the fundamental unity of all that is. As a man sows, so shall he reap. The Hebrew letter He, attributed to the Emperor, means window. It also signifies sight. Window is synonymous with window, denoting that which admits light, knowledge, and air, life, breath into the house of the personality. It should be remembered that Hebrew letter Daleth, meaning door, is attributed to the Empress. He, signifying window or windor, expresses that the Emperor builds upon the boundless and receptive potentiality of the Empress, introducing wind, or the active properties of mind, movement, and volatility into her ideal fullness. The combining of these two fundamental qualities establishes the energetic root of all that is. The number 4, attributed to the Emperor, is traditionally considered the primary basis for stability because it can be geometrically represented as a square within which above, below, and side to side are kept in equal balance. The Emperor establishes foundation by becoming architect and builder, setting all in order, creating limits and boundaries upon the base of 4, the square. The sacred quality of the number 4 finds correlation in the base of the tabernacle, the pyramid, the 4 cardinal points, and the 4 elements. The book of Ezekiel describes the 4 fiery cosmic angels. I looked, and behold, a whirlwind, a cloud of fire enfolding it. Out of the midst thereof came a likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces and 4 wings, the face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an ox, the face of an eagle. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth with its 4 faces, as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel, for the support of the living creatures was in the wheel. Ezekiel chapter 1. The square and the number 4 effectively symbolize the structural elements of the emperor archetype, but his motive force and interaction with the empress is more aptly suggested by the yin-yang symbol. The emperor is the good father, the empress the good mother. The energies generated from their contrary but inseparable nature ignites the fires of creation. The yin and yang symbol has a white inner circle within a black surround and a black inner circle within the white, suggesting that the center of each is formed from its opposite. The dark and light halves are held within a unifying circle representing wholeness. The movement and tension between the 2 halves, or the emperor and the empress, generate and maintain the rhythmic pulse of time and eternity. Another interesting aspect of the yin and yang symbol is that it can be looked upon as representing the first 4 tarot keys and the abstract no thing or zero. The outer circumference of the yin-yang symbol suggests the 0 arcanum of the Fool. The 2 inner circles correspond to the Magus and the High Priestess. The dark and light surrounds signify the Emperor or the Empress and the Emperor accordingly. The sense of sight attributed to the Emperor connotes spiritual vision, a duality of perception that sees both outward into the focus of time, its codes, principles, and circumstances, while simultaneously maintaining an inner vision of the deeper levels of being from which all apparent phenomenon, including oneself, has emerged. The Emperor signifies living structural vitality. Wow. His guiding influence, laws, and regulatory functions are mirrored in the cooperative genius of life. The Emperor teaches that all laws, codes, and types of intelligence are interconnected, therefore decisions must be made in connection with the needs of the greater context or consciousness within which it exists. The simplest way to consider the complexity and subtlety of the Emperor archetype is by considering the symbiotic functioning occurring within one's body. The body follows fundamental principles, both physical and psychological. There is a blueprint, whether it is called genetic code, DNA, or biomorphic resonance, which functions according to natural law and abides by the prompting of its inner guiding intelligence. The remarkable invisible communication that is constantly transpiring within oneself reveals that the body is established in a way that is constantly changing, inhaling, exhaling, contracting, and expanding. Within every breath or pulse are inherent rules and regulatory qualities. Only by studying the architecture of the Emperor as living modulation will one even begin to approach this archetype's deeper meaning. So I'm going to leave it there. That was like, wow, pretty cool, pretty awesome, pretty full, yeah, pretty perfect. And yeah, the sun and the fire, like the element of fire right now, and Aries is a fire sign, and so there's a lot of fiery energy right now. And so I wanted to just give a couple correspondences to fire to close with. Fire, the element of life and fullness, the element of fullness and life, linking the inner and the outer, because this element is a highly purifying, protective element. It has a transformative power when it comes into contact with physical material. It produces light, it consumes impurities, and drives back the darkness. So some of the correspondences are strength, activity, blood, and life force, passion, the inner flame, and the open heart, joy and laughter, communication and enthusiasm. Fire is associated with the sun. Noon, midsummer, and the rarefied. This is the most rarefied and spiritual of the physical elements. Yes, and so there are correspondences with the sun. So the sun, fire, candle, flame, hearth, heart, circle, wand, spiral, star. A theme: sunflower, light, warmth, heat, water, chalice, cauldron, womb, sky, earth, bridge, companion to the moon. Yeah, that's for the sun. Those sun's correspondences. Here are some more correspondences of fire, qualities of fire in traditional Chinese medicine. So the natural quality of fire is heating, warming, and attracting. And the natural, the emotion is joy. Balanced, the fire is happy, lively, passionate, and compassionate. Imbalanced, if there's an excess, it's excitable, hypersensitive, and manic. If fire is deficient, it's selfish, cold, and forgetful. The spiritual quality of fire is an open heart, desire for union, capacity for intimacy. The season of fire, corresponds to summer. The climate, hot, direction south, time of day 11 to 3 p.m. or 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. The sound is laughing and the color is red. So an individual with an affinity to fire has the capacity for great joy, which can be used to forge strong and enduring relationships. Intuitive and empathetic, she longs to fuse her nature with others and suffers intensely when she is separated from those she loves. The wisdom of fire. What is dark clings to what is light, and so enhances the brightness of the latter. A luminous thing giving out light must have within itself something that perseveres, otherwise it will in time burn out. Everything that gives light is dependent on something to which it clings in order that it may continue to shine. The I Ching. What is to give light must endure burning. Viktor Frankl. Fire is the power of radiant passion, contagious enthusiasm, and passionate love. The savage, desperate nature of true love is all-consuming. It cannot blaze so bright for long, or it will exhaust itself. As the season passes and the fire's flame burns down, the energy of the earth builds up, nourishing the longing for an enduring attachment, a passionate devotion, a love that knows no bounds. The intensity of fire consumes, the stability of the earth preserves. As earth exerts its steady, calming influence, the firestorm is contained and transformed into the controlled blaze of mature love. The hearth fires cook up food for the body, mind, and spirit, nourishing the creative life, kindling the desire for depth and substance. And I got that from The House of the Moon, In the House of the Moon. And I think that's by Ketchum and another author. I'll have to add that in the comments to give credit where credit is due. And so thanks for listening today, and being here and being you, taking care of you, and loving you. All right, thanks. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.